Today on Aging Untold, it's important who and how your aging loved one is cared for.
I've owned a home care agency for years, but I worked as a private caregiver, so I've seen both sides of this coin.
We break down private care versus agency care and explain the differences so you can make the right choice for your family. Plus, getting the right medical equipment for you.
Very rarely is it not covered.
Understanding the basics about coverage options, cost, and use. We answer your questions and clear up the confusion. Then, facing tough opponents.
I thought I was a big old guy, that didn't have to talk to anybody about things like that. As a society, we don't talk about grieving.
We'll tell you how one man battled illness and grief and found his way back through a game he's loved his entire life. Experts with advice and solutions. You're watching Aging Untold with Aging Well Coach Catherine Ambrose, gerontologist Sam Craddock, aging expert Amy O'Rourke, and board-certified physician Dr. Ray Rogers. We're all getting older. It's about time we talked about it.
Welcome to Aging Untold. When a parent or loved one needs additional care, you're facing a big decision. Do you hire a private caregiver or go through an agency? Both have real trade-offs, including cost, responsibility, and accountability. Sam, help us understand what families should know about each option.
Oh my goodness, so this is my wheelhouse. I've owned a home care agency for years, but I worked as a private caregiver, so I've seen both sides of this coin, and the only agency I've ever worked for is the one I own, but they both have their benefits. And I think the real confusion comes is, what's home health? And lots of people get confused that home health is home care, and it's not. Home health is ordered by a doctor, and it's paid for through Medicare or whatever your insurance coverage is. Home care and private care, you pay for out of pocket. And so families go out there and they shop for an hourly rate. And they think, okay, the agency's gonna charge me this, and the private person's gonna charge me this, so I'm going private. But they don't understand the responsibility that comes with that. When you get an agency, you're literally getting a full system. When you hire a private person, and I'm not against it, I support private caregivers, you're getting an individual. So then you have to be the one that has a backup plan. Right. You have to be the one that takes care of their taxes, insurance, training, background checks, and vetting. And both sides are doing the same thing. Agencies, activities of daily living; private care, activities of daily living, which is your feeding, bathing, dressing, the things you need the most.
And companionship. So we're talking about companion care or home care versus health care is something different. That's like medical service.
Yeah. That's totally different.
That's someone to be with your mama during the day and help her with what she needs. That would be home care. And then you could find your own, or you can go with an agency.
Yes.
And an agency is more of a system. An
agency is a system, so if somebody calls off, then you've got a replacement coming in. But you may not have vetted and know that
oh my gosh.
Replacement. Right.
Yes.
And you know what I'm talking about, because your dad
I know exactly
with
what
an
you're
agency.
Talking about. My mother has a routine. She makes sure that whoever's coming in there knows the routine. And she goes through it and she teaches them, and everything is great. That's, when they come in, that's my mother's time. So it disrupts everything when the one person doesn't come and you open up the door and there's somebody new. We're like, she's not going anywhere.
Right.
She's not going.
Because she doesn't know she can trust that person.
She's not going.
Well, and I would also want to say a couple outliers, and I really appreciate your position, and it is very stressful to have care brought in the home. I've seen clients where they say, there's no way my mother's going to take care. They're not going to let them in the door. They start off with a housekeeper. Somebody's got a memory impairment. They say, let's just use somebody that knows her, that trusts her, just to get her kind of used to getting the care. And I've seen sometimes when you get part-time, like 2 hours, 4 hours, sometimes there is turnover, because that little person that takes a part-time job, they really want a full-time job. Not always. Some companies are better at staffing part-time work than others. And so the other place you can source private workers, and I don't think in terms of absolutes, I feel like whatever works for you, the percentage of cost that you can save if you private, it's a about 20 to 50% less than an agency. And then you can find private workers through what's called a registry. You have to look for your own state to see about registries and what the rules and regulations are. But if cost is important to you, you have to add in what would a payroll company cost, what are the taxes going to cost, what is your insurance going to cost, to get the true difference.
Because people think they're going to save 50%. They think, oh, a home care agency might be $35, $36 or more an hour, and I could just hire a person directly and maybe pay half of that. They're thinking they're going to save half. In reality, you're saying maybe 20% or so. But the other thing, too, you need insurance on your house.
Right. And so I tell anybody that brings a private caregiver in, and again, I'm an advocate for, here's where I stand on this. If it's working for you and your loved one and they're getting quality care, I don't care if it's through a licensed agency or a private person that's great and they know what they're doing. As long as it's serving your family well and it helps. If you're bringing that private person in, make sure you put a domestic worker rider on your homeowner's insurance. So if that private person falls, slips, hurts their back, does any problems, then they're covered and you're not losing your house over it.
That's a good point. I don't think a lot of people, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But with the agency, you're not going to
With an
have to worry about
agency,
that.
they're
They're gonna-
carrying they carry the liability, so they have those insurances in place. But that private person doesn't usually come with anything.
Right.
Some will have their own just because that's what they do for a living, and they'll protect themselves. But you want to vet that out. And then you can't get away from the horror stories that go on of, hey, I hired a living caregiver and I've moved them into my house and they won't move out. They won't move out and they're not doing the care, and now we're having to evict them. You don't ever see those with agencies. It is rare, but it has happened. So you got to be aware of the person that you're hiring enough and vet them out to know that you could have those issues. You don't. Nobody wants a squatter.
But how can you protect yourself? So even if you vet somebody out and everything looks good, is there things that you can do to protect yourself
There
from that
absolutely
happening?
is. I say, limit the credit card exposure, lock all valuables, act like you've got a criminal living in your home, and protect everything everywhere. Don't leave anything that they can access. And when they go shopping for your loved one, give them a prepaid debit card. Don't give them access to the funds in your home.
But I want to end with a few things, and that is, not only are you hiring a system when you get the agency, but you're not competing with them to be an employer, because that's what you are. You're an employer when you hire your own people. They are connected to the ecosystem, so they have the relationship with the nurses, the hospitals, the therapists, the senior living communities, and all the things that you might need. And for the average person, frankly, I think it's a romantic notion that we're just going to find somebody that's going to come in and do this work, or we're going to give them free rent. In reality, that doesn't work for most people. You've got to be able to find the people and manage.
True, but I was a great private caregiver.
Nobody else is going to hire a Sam Craddock. Where are you going to find that person? We'll be right back on Aging Untold.
Still ahead,
Walking back into that gym was one of the best things I did.
one man's love of table tennis helped him get back in the game after battling illness and heartbreak. But first,
Everybody thinks that they're going to deliver this equipment to the house and they're going to give you a lesson, and that ain't happening.
getting the right equipment for your medical needs without the headache.
Walkers, wheelchairs, and hospital beds are just a few examples of durable medical equipment available. They're prescribed to help you stay independent, but the reality is navigating the system isn't that simple. Figuring out what to order, what's covered, and the costs can be overwhelming. Amy, what qualifies as durable medical equipment?
So durable medical equipment covered by Medicare or other insurances. You got to get it from a company that works with Medicare. Doctor's orders required. I'll use examples. There's a quad cane with 4 little, prongs on the bottom. You got CPAP machines if you have difficulty breathing. I really love the Medicare.gov website because it really clarifies what's covered. And I think people don't think to check it to see if what I need is going to be paid for by an insurance. Very rarely is it not covered, but if it's not, look for secondhand medical supply stores or local communities that might have something that you need. I had one woman who borrowed a walker from a neighbor because she didn't want to use the Medicare system because she thought she was taking something from someone else. So don't think that, it worked for her, but it's something that helps maintain independence.
I think one thing that helped me to understand what it was is it's something that has repeated use. So those disposable things like that is probably not going to qualify.
Right, it is reusable. And, a lot of people think that durable medical equipment is a symbol of decline. And it's not. It's a tool to protect you. So many people see this as, oh my gosh, I don't want anybody to see me on a walker. And I've never quite understood that terminology, on a walker. No, you're using it. but that's what they say.
Because I'll look old.
I'll look old. I don't want people to think that I'm frail. I don't want people to see me as dependent. Well, I'd rather people see me as dependent than see me on the floor. There's so much shame tied to aging that people aren't able to do it well.
I think it's the way you look at it too, because it actually, you can use it as what we call betweeners, tweeners. It can be in between you needing help right now to get you back on your feet. So it's not necessarily permanent. So it just depends on how you're looking at it and how you're utilizing it.
So what's the doctor's role in all of this?
Write the prescription.
Write the prescription.
Okay.
I write the prescription, and then I'm relying on other staff in the hospital to do their job. And apparently, sometimes that doesn't always happen.
It doesn't. So durable medical equipment companies, everybody thinks that they're going to deliver this equipment to the house and they're going to give you a lesson. And that ain't happening. They're going to show up, they're going to drop it off, they're going to say, here, sign for this, and they're walking away. So the walker's not adjusted to the right height. You've got an oxygen concentrator in the house that you have no clue how to turn on, and God forbid if you know how many liters. You don't know how to use a tank. So we have to then go to PT and OT.
Physical therapy and occupational therapy.
Yes, thank you. And get the instructions so that you learn how to use this, or seek out a caregiver that knows how.
Coming up,
Flower pressing is an ancient Japanese art form. And as you can see, it takes a long time just to do one petal.
we'll explore how one artist is using a centuries-old technique to preserve memories. But first, sickness and loss nearly drained him, but a widower found solace in a game.
How are you doing now?
I'm actually doing quite well. I mean, obviously I can play table tennis.
We'll share with you how ping pong has served him well. You can watch Aging Untold anytime online. Go to aginguntold.com or subscribe to the Aging Untold YouTube channel for more.
Welcome back. That's the way the ball bounces could describe the game of ping pong and the life of Jack Devine. Joe Carroll in Vermont shows us how the back and forth of life inspired him to pick up a paddle.
On a crisp November afternoon, Jack Devine finds solace above his garage in Ferrisburg.
This is my space, yeah. I'll crank this up.
Call it ping pong or table tennis.
And I don't care what you call it as long as you come out and play.
Jack started playing the sport with his dad when he was a kid.
This is my dad, Albert Devine.
You love the game?
He loved the game.
That love of the game volleyed to Jack, now 80.
Okay, I might speed it up one notch.
Sure.
He's, well, in full swing. But there were times when he put down the paddle.
I started having trouble with blurry vision because my eyes wouldn't move the way they're supposed to. And you talk about a frightening thing. I mean, my jaw wouldn't work at all.
Jack had myasthenia gravis, MG for short, an autoimmune muscle disease. During those hard times, his wife Gloria was by his side.
And she would make foods that I didn't have to chew.
Medication has controlled the effects of the disease. Jack, though, would be tested again.
Hard time?
Very hard time. Probably the hardest time I've ever had. in my life.
For 2 years,
Yep.
Gloria endured ovarian cancer, spending her last days at home.
When you go through something like that, I had no idea how bad I was.
After his wife passed, Jack was exhausted both physically and mentally, and Gloria's hospice worker was now there for Jack.
You know, I thought I was a big old guy, you know, that didn't have to talk to anybody about things like that. As a society, we don't talk about grieving.
How are you doing now?
I'm actually doing quite well. I mean, obviously I can play table tennis.
That he does every week at the Champlain Valley Table Tennis Club in Shelburne.
Walking back into that gym was one of the best things I did. There's a lot of movement.
Jack and his late dad founded the club more than 4 decades ago.
Nice shot.
I already heard trash talk on you.
I know, it didn't take them long, did it? I let my paddle do my talking.
It may be just a game, but it serves Jack well.
I actually gasped when he said that he and his father started that club 4 decades ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of liked all the different things. There were a lot of different things in this.
Oh.
Like he says, we don't talk about grief enough.
That's right.
You know, wow. And he just had so many different moving parts. The grief, his injury himself, recovering from myasthenia gravis, which is an autoimmune disorder, which is pretty remarkable that he has as much function back. Because most people do not recover like that. So that's a great thing. And then his wife with the ovarian cancer, I mean, just hit after hit after hit. And yet, in the end, he's found purpose.
Right, and the word resilience comes to mind.
Absolutely.
Like just he was the definition of resilience. And that shot where he just slammed that ping pong ball at the other guy, I'm like, go get him.
Yeah.
He's not compromising himself to help somebody else. He's going to win that game. And that's probably what helped him get through the hard times that he went through, both physically and then losing his wife.
And it's like you're watching him work through the stages of grief.
Yes, that's exactly right.
Up next, preserving memories.
We're taking a live plant and we're, drying it out and letting it last a lifetime.
How you can keep flowers from a memorable life moment forever in bloom.
Whether for a wedding, a memorial, or another special occasion, people are willing to spend hundreds, if not thousands of dollars for fresh floral arrangements. But their beauty is fleeting. Io Elise explains how a centuries-old craft helps preserve life's cherished moments.
So flower pressing is an ancient Japanese art form. And as you can see, it takes a long time just to do one petal. So while I've been meeting women on the worst day of their life, I'm now meeting them on the best day of their life.
Daphne Anderson was once a forensic nurse, but now she's the owner and artistic director for Vancutery, a boutique flower pressing studio in Vancouver. Now, while Anderson and her team specialize in weddings,
some people will spend in the upwards of, $10,000 on a bouquet, and they literally will throw it away as soon as the ceremony is over, or give out flowers to their guests. And this way you can actually preserve your entire bouquet and keep it for a lifetime.
they also preserve flowers for other types of occasions too, from proms, graduations, and memorials. The art of flower pressing started in Japan in the 16th century and slowly caught on in the UK and US in the 1800s. Anderson's own journey with the art form started with the sudden passing of her brother.
I was really kind of wrecked by grief, and my husband, who's an engineer, made me a flower press. And I just started pressing flowers every day.
The studio has produced over 100 pieces. Anderson says clients can expect to see a finished work in about 6 months. So once the flowers are received,
we press it, and when we press it, it means that we take it apart petal by petal, and as you can see here, there's like all sorts of petals. And then it goes through a period of paper changes, and all paper changes do are help us remove the water from the petals, and that takes about a week to 10 days. Let's go see what Andy's doing.
then the flowers rest for 3 months until they are ready to be color corrected.
And there is going to be some color change because we're taking a live plant and we're, drying it out and letting it last a lifetime. But when I color correct, they can have their original color.
From here, Anderson designs the piece that gets delivered to her clients. She says that she's happy to bring joy to those with an art form she truly enjoys.
Our memories kind of fade, and this is just kind of like a titch every morning, like it just kind of reminds you of your wedding day.
Talk about giving grief purpose. She was grieving her brother's sudden loss and got into that, and it was beautiful.
I thought the same thing. The first thing that popped in my mind was turning pain into purpose.
Oh, yeah.
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 I mean, that was just amazing.
It was
And the other
amazing.
aspect is she was a forensic nurse. So she's so used to documenting harm. And now she's giving memory and beauty.
Documenting beauty.
Yeah,
Right.
just a
And the
total
closest with her brother to result
Yeah.
in something so beautiful. I want to go see it. It was just like breathtaking. Some of those pictures, wedding or not, I'd want her to do something. I'd buy a bouquet and have her do it for me. It's just a beautiful work of art.
I thought, flower pressing was sticking your flower in a
too,
book
yeah.
and closing it,
I did too.
and then coming back like a year or two later, and there was a little moldy flower kind of tucked in there.
Yeah.
But this was literally precision and then color matching.
You see how long it takes. She's
Yeah, 6 months.
Yeah.
What was in him that made him give her a flower press? Like, what did he see? He sees her so deeply to think to give her
He
something
built
like
it.
that.
She said he
He's an
made it for
engineer.
her. He's an
my
engineer and he made it.
Wow,
Oh,
amazing.
stop.
Very interesting story. We have so many more questions.
Yeah, I have tons of questions, but I love the story.
Yeah. We're all aging, and it's about time we talk about it. Until next time on Aging Untold.
On the next Aging Untold, hearing loss is much more than missed words.
And emotionally, I was like, am I really losing my hearing?
But you don't have to struggle alone. We'll share what's at risk and some affordable fixes to hear again.